So for this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make the flower motif off the Michaela necklace and earrings. So we're going to be using some pressed glass dagger beads and some pressed glass, these are called candy beads. They're both produced by the Preciosa company in the Czech Republic. So the dagger beads have got a single hole that runs across the top, which means that they'll sit really nicely in a flower shape. And then the candy beads have actually got two holes in them that run parallel to one another, which means that you can make them sit really nicely on the top of that flower ring that you've made to give you a front and back to your flower. These are domed, so what we want to make sure when we use them is that the flat side sits against the ring of beads. So I've got 1.5 meters of thread. I've threaded my needle on so that my needle sits in the middle of the thread, so we're working with the thread doubled. This means that the holes in the beads will get nice and full so that the overall finish will be stiffer. The more thread you've got running through a bead or a set of beads, the stiffer it will be. This will give us a nice finish to the motif, and it will make it nice and sturdy so that it's not going to flop around. It will sit nicely against your neck and your chest. So as you can see, I'm just threading all of the beads, all of the daggers onto my needle and thread there, and then I'm going to slide them down so that they're about 15 centimetres or so, 10-15 centimetres from the end of the thread. And now what I'm going to do is go through these beads in the same direction for a second time, and this will bring them into a circle. So we'll just go through them. There, there's one, and through these there. And if you just make sure that you keep hold of this end of the thread, because if you pull the beads off the end again, or pull the thread all the way through the ring, you're not going to be very happy. So just pull down and it will pull your beads into a circle. Okay, so there we go. So you can see we've now got our flower shape, but it's still a little bit floppy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take needle and thread around the ring for a third time. So this means you've essentially got 6 lots of thread sitting inside these beads, and they'll start to get, the motif will start to get nice and stiff. So just pull it, you want to pull it reasonably tight so there aren't lots of gaps between the beads, but what you don't want to do is pull it so tight that the beads don't sit flat. If you pull it too tightly, what will happen is that the beads will start to stick up or point downwards, and it will look a bit cramped. So just make sure it's nice and even, but not too tight. So just go through these last couple of beads here. There we go. There we go. And if I put that down flat on the mat there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the tail ends of the thread, and we're going to take the working thread, and we're going to tie a knot. So just a single knot there, and pull it down so that it sits nice and close up against this original ring, and then we're going to tie a second knot that's going to sit just on top of that there. Okay, so we're going to take one of our candies, and if you just sit it on the top there, what you can see is that the gap in the between the two holes is about the same width as one of the beads, so that will mean that it will sit nicely between the petals. Okay, so we're going to pick up the needle again, and we're going to pick up one of the candy beads, and then coming up between this gap here, so we're going to go down or up, come up through this one here, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the needle down through that central hole and then bring the thread up between the two beads, two petals, like this. So make a little loop, and we're going to go through that candy bead a second time. Okay, and then to make that nice and secure, we'll go through the ring again. Make sure when you've got the double thread, you're pulling both threads through evenly. There. Up between, through, down through the ring, and up and through again. And that side is nice and firmly attached. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go down through that ring, and this time we're going to come up through the next petal gap that's there. So we went, this is the one we've attached through the first side, so this is the one through the next side. So we're going to come up there, we're going to go through the next hole on the petal, on the candy, sorry, down through the middle, up through, there's the one for the first side, so here's the one for the second. We're going to go through, and again we're going to reinforce that, so we'll go down through the central ring. Just make sure you don't get any threads caught. Up, through, down, through there to the back, and through one more time. And now what we'll do is we'll go down through that central ring, and we're also going to turn the work over, and we're going to add this second candy bead to the back. So we're going to go through the hole in the candy bead, and we're going to come down. Now this side's a little bit more awkward because you have got the other candy bead already attached, but it's exactly the same. You've just got a little bit less wiggle room to aim for. So we're going to go up and through, there. We're going to go under, and just make sure that's not catching around the wrong beads. There we go. And just tell the beads where you want them to sit. And we're going to go back through there. Lost my hole. There we go. And through and under. And then repeat to attach the second hole. Just make sure your threads are all nice and smooth. So we're going to come up through that second loop, pick up your other hole on your candy bead, and again just make sure all of your threads are out of the way. And we're going to go under and over and under, oops, and over Okay, and there is our finished flower motif.